Welcome to the Christina Crooks Show, where you not only get to know the many versions of moi, but also the rich tapestry of humanity. I invite you to bring your full curiosity and listen as we journey through people's stories and expertise. I hope you walk away with insights and inspiration and new possibilities bubbling up inside of your soul. The reason it's called the Christina Crooks Show is because here's the thing. I don't always want to do the same thing. I like a variety in my life. I like to explore different rabbit holes and different people and different interests. So together in this podcast, that's exactly what we'll do. Have fun, and we'll see you soon. I am here today with Ember Lynn for this episode on the podcast. Ember is a woman living her best life while helping others do the same. My kind of people. 2 years ago, she left the traditional workforce and started following her passions, creating the life of her dreams. She loves to travel, explore the world, try new things, and find different ways to experience pleasure daily. So juicy. She's a certified human developer with Hey You Human, has her master's degree in professional counseling, and is working on completing a certification program for hypnotherapy. Her passion is helping others process their emotions and learn to feel again so they can discover who they are and what they love. She believes we're all meant to have a kick-ass life, and she shares the work of Hey You Human and the rapid relief technique with everyone she knows because she believes so passionately in their work and mission. Welcome, Ember.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. So tell me, let's just jump right into Hey You Human, because apparently that's a tongue twister for me, and the rapid relief technique. Tell us about that.
So Hey You Human really has a mission to help humans live their best life, to get rid of the things we don't want so we can really start enjoying the things we do want. And right now in our world, there's a lot going on between all the things happening. And so people are stressed and overwhelmed, overworked, they're fearful, they're angry. There's so many emotions. And really, up till now, we haven't really been taught how to process those. We have some old school techniques that have brought us to here, but Hey You Human has the rapid relief technique, and it really gives you relief from everything you don't want to feel. And so it's a super I get so excited talking about it. It's really fast. It's easy. Anyone can do it. We actually teach the technique for free because we believe every human on the planet needs this work. And it basically helps you process all of your emotions so that they fully leave your body and they don't come back. So instead of trying to stuff things down and get through and survive and just get by on your day, you learn to really enjoy your day. You don't have the triggers all the time. You don't have all the stressors. And so it's just a very different way to live. And so it has completely changed my world since I have been a part of this. So.
And it's been 2 years, right?
It's been 2 years. Yep.
Got it. So how do you use that? What has that process been like for you using that technique? And how do you use it now if something does arise in your day-to-day life?
Sure. Well, the technique teaches you to use things that come up in your daily life. And so whereas traditionally we're taught to breathe through it, ignore it, focus on the positive, the rapid relief technique has you go into it. So you say the things you want to say because they are in your body. So if somebody is like cutting me off in traffic and it triggers me, I am saying all of the things we use. It's hard to show on the podcast since it's audio, but we use a tapping technique. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with tapping. We use it a little differently.
This goes on YouTube also. So
awesome.
If you want to share it, and for the listeners that are just on the podcast platforms, you're welcome to pop over to YouTube and see what she's doing.
Awesome. Okay. So we don't use all the traditional tapping points that EFT uses, but for those who are familiar with EFT, you might have something like, I'm not angry. I don't want to be angry. I don't feel this anger. It's meant to bring your emotions down so that you are feeling calm. But the problem is that anger is still in you. You haven't completed the emotional cycle. You haven't fully felt the anger. So it's not leaving your body. It's getting stored in your body. That's where you have health problems. You have low energy. You're triggered by everything. Everything seems overwhelming because we're stuffing, stuffing, stuffing. And so the rapid relief technique, if somebody were to cut me off in traffic, I would say the things that I want to say to this person, like, you stupid idiot, da 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 da. Whatever it is, I go into it while I'm tapping. And it can feel odd at first. It can feel uncomfortable at first. But what happens is you get this like whoosh, whoosh of relief. And it is the most magical feeling. It like leaves your body. And the more you integrate this into your life, the more you use those daily triggers, the less and less you're triggered. And the same things you might be able to see. And you just have this new love for humans, new compassion for humans. You have more peace, more joy, all the things. And so it's truly magical. It has shifted my life in every way.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And for so many reasons, but the one that's top of mind is I do that with clients
Mm-hmm.
in especially with anger,
Mm-hmm.
because so often people are in one of two camps. And there's obviously people that are not in those two camps, but most of the time people are in either stuffing it down or they're
Mm-hmm.
in total amygdala hijacking
Right.
and kind of one or the other. And one of the things I often say is you have to meet it.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot positive think your way out of that.
No.
I mean, it'll be a band-aid for a certain
Yep.
amount of time. But more than anything, I see it a lot in like gratitude circles
Yep.
where people are, I'll hear them say, well, I don't mean to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like as though anything that might resemble negativity is the
Right.
devil.
Right.
And it's like it only becomes this thing that overtakes you when you don't work with it, when
Mm-hmm.
you don't allow it to be there. So with
Mm-hmm.
clients one-on-one, I will sometimes have them make up a list of really unique cuss words
I love that.
and things they can say to themselves
Yeah.
towards something or someone, or write this is an explicit podcast, so for any of you that did not read that, I'm about to cuss. Just FYI, if you've got kids listening, you might want to pause it right here. But a fuck you letter and a thank you
Mm-hmm.
letter. And when you do that with someone you're upset with or a situation you're upset with, it does that same thing where you process it. But I really like that it's the technique that you're talking about, the rapid relief,
Mm-hmm.
works in somatic things. It works in the tapping because
Mm-hmm.
that brings us back to presence.
Well, and it really, we have so much stored in our body, and this is a clearing mechanism. So it clears those energetic pathways. It truly, actually, what we're discovering is it's like changing on a DNA level. Like we have had people with MS get their brain scanned, and after using this technique and going through the program and all of that, like they're not exhibiting any MS symptoms anymore. It's the most interesting thing. But we've had, people who were infertile and they tried everything. And all of a sudden, when you clear the emotions, all of a sudden she actually just had a baby. I think her baby's 4 months old now, the person I'm thinking of. And so it's just so interesting. I feel like I'm learning more and more every day. And we as a company are learning more and more every day of all the ways our emotions affect us, because it's not just our mental health, it's our physical bodies. It's all the stuff. So
Absolutely.
I think the positive thinking movement really did us a disservice. And it's interesting because when you do this and you clear the negative emotions, you naturally move towards positivity. I tell people I don't have to do a gratitude list, because when I clear all the gunk, it's like all of a sudden I just sit here and I'm like, oh, my life is amazing. Like I love this this place and there's so much beauty, and it just, you don't have to force yourself to do it. Right now we're trying to like beat against a wall and force ourselves to do all this stuff, and we don't have to. If we would remove the gunk, it comes naturally. It can be easy.
Because you have to meet yourself where you are first.
Yeah.
And if you are in a place of anger or resentment or frustration, and you're trying to add in a different emotion, did you ever see that movie? It was a Pixar movie with the different emotions, Inside Out.
Inside Out. I don't think I actually saw that. I need to watch it.
It is adorable, and I've recommended it to so many clients because it's
Yeah.
such a basic way to understand emotion.
Yeah.
But there's this part in that movie, and even if you haven't seen it, you'll get this. There's 5 different emotions. There's anger, sadness, joy, disgust, sadness, and fear. So I think there's 6 of them. And joy goes missing for a while, and they're like, we need joy at the control panel, and they're controlling this little girl. And so disgust comes in. She goes, I guess I'll pretend to be joy. And how it comes out of the little girl is perfect, because when we're trying on an emotion that doesn't actually fit how we feel inside, it comes out wonky. It comes out weird. Like, you may say, I'm so happy to see you. And that's really,
it leaks,
you don't
out into all
like
different areas. Yeah.
Exactly. So with is that the main thing you do now, is Hey You Human?
It
Or
is.
do you do other things also?
That is the main thing. It's interesting because I am somebody who loves to try new things. I have my master's in counseling. I've done hypnotherapy. I'm a soul modes mentor. I have a certification in belief ethics. I have like all these things. I love energy work, and I want to learn about Reiki, and I want to do all these things. And I feel like I've been the type of person who's gotten certification after certification, tried all the things. And now I've just kind of come to this place where I feel like I'm good. Like, this is it. This is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to do. I've seen how many people it has affected. I see the life, like my mom actually just joined our program and is in the world now. And so it's like healing generational patterns of stuff. It's like, it's so interesting and amazing. So
what about this? Do you think, and I think I already know the answer, but I'm curious what your words are. What about Hey You Human really made you feel settled?
I feel like it's like coming home. I love the people I work with, and I feel like I found the thing that has worked. I've tried so many things. I know, I've struggled with mental health in the past. I've tried therapy. I've tried medication. I've tried so many different things. And this was the thing that made me feel better. This is the thing that brought me joy and happiness. And I'm living life so differently. Sarah Longoria, who is the head of the company, says it's like from living in black and white to color. And that's exactly how I feel. So it's just, I feel like I've arrived.
That's a good feeling.
Yes.
Good feeling when you feel like you've arrived for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and you come back home to yourself. That's the thing. It's like the world, it's amazing to me how many people are living a life they don't even want. They are doing it because they've been told they need to do it. Society has shown them like this is the path to success or whatever it is. And when you really break it down, I mean, there are people who want to live a simple life in the country. There are people who love luxury and jets and yachts. There are people who like a stable job, like a 9-to-5 job. There are people who want to travel the world. As entrepreneurs, we're so different. And so our mission is really to bring people home to themselves so that they can discover what they actually want, and then live that life.
What other things have you discovered that you actually want?
I want to travel. I want to travel more. I joined a gym and started learning jujitsu. I actually took a break after I hurt my knee, but I'm doing kickboxing. I have started belly dancing. I am writing a book. It's just like I don't know if you can hear the cat meowing. I'm sorry.
All good. I have pets as a part of my life, so let them meow away. She wants to
Yeah,
be a part
so
of the
awesome.
podcast.
I know she does. Um, so it's just trying new things. I think sometimes we're afraid to try new things because we're afraid it won't work out. But what I've really learned is you don't know you like something until you try it. And so you're going to quote unquote fail, even though I don't think there's failure. You're going to find out you like something. And if you don't, then pivot and find something you do like. There's so much out there.
Where's your growth edge right now with something you want to try, haven't stepped into yet?
I really want to finish
Exciting, but
my
a little
book.
scary.
Well, actually, I just did a post about it. I booked a trip to Mexico.
There it is.
So it's so interesting. I have this stuff coming up right now all about safety. And it's funny because I want to do this big Eat, Pray, Love trip. And I've been planning this forever. And my trip to Mexico is like a step in that direction. It's just dipping my toe into, international travel on my own. And all this fear came up, all this stuff around safety. And we're actually running a program right now. It's Heal Liberation. So it's all about freedom and safety. And I listened to the call yesterday and I messaged Sarah because I said, I cried. I tapped and cried because this is all for me. I feel it's like, that's my edge. I'm working through my safety stuff so that I can go explore because I'm super excited. I've booked this retreat and it's for my 40th birthday. It'll be really fun. So
congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
It is.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is November 1st. So my trip's in November.
Got it.
Yeah. So I have 4 months to get this gunk out and just go enjoy myself in Mexico.
Have you ever read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks?
I haven't, but you are the second person to recommend that. I need to go get it.
It's so good. And you can listen to it on Audible because he reads it, which is pretty cool. There's and he's been on the podcast as well, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, he was on one before you. Yep. And he talks about the difference between fear and excitement. Mm-hmm. The difference between fear and excitement is breath, mm-hmm. deep breaths, mm-hmm. and just moving through that. So it's cool that that's your new growth edge and that you have all these tool sets that you can incorporate. Because the more that you do things like that as mm-hmm. someone who's trained in different therapies and different mm-hmm. modalities and leading others, you set the example, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel it's so funny. I asked somebody once, I was working with a coach and I had just done like 2 big leaps. And I was like, oh, why am I getting this call to do something else? I just got comfortable. And she was like, Ember, it's like Pilates. Like you stretch till you think you can't stretch anymore. And then they say, go a little bit further and you're stretched again. You're always expanding your edges. And so I feel like I've taken so many big leaps. I quit my job not knowing what I was about to do. I've just had several things. And they can be scary. And I always get nauseous actually, because fear lives in your stomach and you like that nauseated feeling, but that pull from my soul where I know I'm supposed to do it, but it scares the crap out of me. I know it's the best decision. And so that's what I continually follow.
Well, and I think you would agree, but I really think our emotional things have tells in mm-hmm. our body. Like for you, it's in your gut. It's mm-hmm. in your stomach feeling nauseous. Mm-hmm. For me, it can be feeling frozen in place, mm-hmm. going, okay, I need to move. Yeah. I need to take a step. Yeah. And I think that there's also this misconception that once you have a certain amount of tools and you've learned a certain amount of knowledge, those things won't ever happen again.
Right.
But the truth is, life is life, mm-hmm. and life can throw all kinds of curveballs and all kinds mm-hmm. of flaming meteors. You can be just going along thinking everything is great, feeling fantastic, and then something happens. Someone you care about gets sick, right? Or someone suddenly dies, or you get sick, mm-hmm. or your safety is threatened mm-hmm. in any kind of way, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial.
Yeah.
Any of those things could send you into a tailspin. But when
Mhm.
you have all these tools, the process is faster,
It's faster and it impacts you less because
right?
it doesn't feel like when you get
You
triggered,
don't,
it's about all the events that have like compounded, you've compounded your emotions. So the more you clear it out, you move through it faster and it doesn't bother you as much. It's it's not like you arrive at this place where things never happen. I mean, unless you're going to be a hermit in the mountains and never go out and interact with the public and, live life, then there are things that will come up, but it gets easier and easier the more you actually learn to feel. And your body for sure tells you, like we teach our clients to really go into our bodies because we haven't been doing that. Like we have not been paying attention to our bodies as humans, a lot of us. And so people don't even know how to feel. And so by having them close their eyes and be like, where do you feel that? Oh, I feel it in my stomach. Okay. Are you afraid of something? You feel it in your chest. Is there something like sadness coming up? Anger, a lot of times, is in your back. Like there are definitely signs for your body is giving you. Our bodies talk to us all the time.
all the time. So
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about your mental health journey and
Okay.
how much has shifted. So tell us about where you were pre
Hmm.
2 years ago,
Okay.
and everything that led up to that, and then
Yeah.
what shifted. But we'll start with the past. What was
Okay.
there?
So I was diagnosed with depression. I think I was 16 years old and I was put on medication right away. I've tried, I can't even tell you how many medications, all the standard ones: Prozac, Lexapro, Zoloft. I don't think I was ever on Xanax. There was just a ton of medication, counseling I went to. I was actually in an inpatient treatment for a little bit in high school. Um, and it just felt like it would get a little bit better, but then it would come back. It never fully got better. And then I was actually diagnosed with dysthymia. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's
No, I
like a
don't.
low level depression. So it's not the major highs and lows, it's just you're feeling blah. Like you're going through life just feeling blah. I couldn't really feel anger. I couldn't really feel sadness. I couldn't really feel joy. I felt nothing. And so, I mean, I'm 39. So this is like from 16 to 37, I was on this journey of like, why can I not feel better? And I remember going to this counselor and just thinking, we talk about the same damn thing every single time. Like it's not getting better. I went the more natural route. So I found out my vitamin D level was critically low. I had to fight my doctor to test it. Um, it's it was critically low, and that made a huge impact. When I started getting on vitamin D, I've started taking vitamin B, but really truly until I found the rapid relief technique, nothing was shifting for me. And so I had gotten to the point where I was miserable. I was in a job I had outgrown. I'd been there 11 years and I loved it for a time. It was my passion and purpose. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm done with this, but I don't even know what I want to do. And I'm so unhappy and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what I want. It was like this weird feeling like I know I don't want this, but I don't know what I want. And so, yeah.
Were you, when you were in the position for 11 years, that's quite a
Mhm.
long time. Was that counseling? Were you a counselor
Nope. I worked at a school.
at a
I
school?
worked at a school in an office. I was in the classroom for 2 years. I actually had worked in a classroom before that, or another school before that. But I worked at a Montessori school that my daughter
Got
attended.
it.
And so I loved it. I loved it for a time. But we grow and we evolve. And I
Yeah.
got in this world of personal development and coaching and all the things. And I watched people like traveling and working from home or working from a hotel. And I was going, what is happening here? This looks amazing. And I started to see how emotionally they were doing and how all this stuff was different. And it showed me what was possible. Because if you are in your bubble, if you are surrounded by people who are struggling, I feel like the day-to-day life, it's hard to see what is out there and what's possible for you. And so this opened my eyes. I started using the rapid relief technique. And within 4 months, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not doing this anymore. And I quit my job. And then I decided I was going to get certified in hypnotherapy. And then I started working full time for the company. And so it all kind of snowballed. But it was just this journey of self discovery. And there was a period of time. It's so funny because I feel like people are either in the place where they have no idea what they want to do. They don't want to do anything, which is the next level that I went to. I didn't want to do a damn thing. And then they're like, okay, I know what I want to do, but it scares me and I don't know that it's possible. And so it's like moving through all the little levels. So yeah. And I feel like I can feel again. I feel joy. I feel sadness. I'll cry at commercials. And that scares people sometimes, but it's like, no, I'm living life. I'm experiencing it. I feel it deeply. And it's really magical.
That's beautiful, Ember.
Thank
And,
you.
I can relate. For me, it's ontology. When I found ontology,
Mm-hmm.
it was like all these pieces of philosophy I knew, and pieces of spirituality, and pieces of psychology all made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been questioning reality for most of my life and going, is this even real?
Right.
Is this just a simulation? Like, what is this?
Are we on the Truman Show?
Yeah, am I in the Matrix? And when I found ontology, it was, I think you know Hans. I was trained under Hans. And that was just, it was one
Mm-hmm.
after
Mm-hmm.
another, where it was all these pieces of decades of learning that
Mm-hmm.
I had taken in from all these different corners.
Yeah.
And now they all fit together. And I think whoever you are listening and wherever you are in the world, when you find that thing,
Mm-hmm.
follow that expansion. When you
Yeah.
find that thing that lights you up and connects all the pieces for you,
Mm-hmm.
that is the conduit you're meant to share.
Yeah.
That is where you're meant to stand. That is probably one of many of your purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can light up more people like that,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because it's all about conscious conversations.
Yeah.
About life and business and relationships. And there's no one way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one road that leads to Rome. There
Mm-hmm.
are many,
Mm-hmm.
as you saw with how many certifications you have.
Yeah. When I think they all work together. I mean, I feel like every experience I've had has led me here. And I feel like we're all on our own journey. We're all on our own path. We're all on our own timeline. And, just explore. You're just meant to really go after. I feel like nobody has a dream that they're not equipped to have. Like if you have a desire to do something, go do it. And it may scare the shit out of you, but that means you're meant to do it.
Yes. We have access to so many different tools and modalities now in this day and age. And we have access to so many people throughout the world. You're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. Oftentimes I have conversations with people across the world, in Australia and New Zealand and Switzerland. And it's just incredible. It's incredible how much access we have.
Oh, yeah.
And I think at the same time, people can get overwhelmed by all those choices and decisions and directions that they could go. But when you go internally inside, your soul knows.
Yeah.
It knows the things that are pulling at it. And I've really enjoyed watching your journey, Ember, over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And just meeting you in a group, I think it was about 2 years ago now.
Yeah. It was a coaching group. Yeah.
Yeah, meeting you in there and then just watching you transform your life in a way that was your way, that worked for you. And I think that's so beautiful. And we're the same age too. So I'm like, go girl. Go.
Yeah.
Every time,
It's the other thing I think is people are so afraid to fail. And I tell people all the time, there's no failure. You have lessons, you have experiences. You're not failing if you're trying something. And I feel like when my daughter was young, I tell this story all the time because I just think it's so powerful. She was a kick-ass softball player. She was so good. And I would love to watch her. She was a pitcher. She was amazing. It was the best thing. And she wanted to quit. And I was like, no, it was a personal thing. I was like, no, I love watching you. And I had, my mom in my head going, no, you need to teach her to be disciplined. You need to teach her to be consistent. We have to stick with things. And that's perpetuated a lot in our society. And I really struggled with that for a moment. But I finally asked her, I said, okay, are you wanting to quit because it's getting hard, because it doesn't feel easy anymore? Or are you wanting to quit because your heart's not in it? You don't love it anymore. And she said, I don't love it anymore. And I said, okay. And I let her quit, and she started theater, and now she wants to go on Broadway. We're looking at conservatories for college. She has found a passion and her purpose and what she wants to do with her life. And she wouldn't have found that had I not let her quit. And I think a lot of times in our society, we are taught to stick things out. We're taught to like stick with it, be disciplined, all the things, but we're pushing against our soul. Like, our soul will lead us, and we will find the things that we love to do. And there is nothing wrong with leaving something that's no longer serving you, even if it did at one time, like the school.
Yeah. And I think a parallel to that
Mhm,
is the phrase, life hands you lemons, make lemonade.
mhm,
And I get the sentiment of it, but I think it gets twisted a lot, where
mhm.
it's like, you just deal with it. If
Right,
it sucks, you just deal with it.
right.
And my version of what you just shared was, I had a client once that was trying to go into a full-time role at Google.
Mm,
This was their dream job.
yeah.
And this person practiced like 18 different times, did practice interviews with friends, then had the interview, got an offer.
Mhm.
And after had 4 interviews over the course of a month, because it's Google and
Yeah.
they're super thorough, and had the final one. And so we had a call, and I went, okay, how did it go? I'm
Mhm.
so excited. How did it go? And this person said, I got an offer. This is what the offer was. I'm like, congratulations. They're like, hold on, I'm not done. Okay, I'll reserve.
Mhm.
And they said, I declined.
Mm.
And I had that moment like, no,
Yeah.
why? But I'm the coach. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to have that kind of reaction in that moment. I just said,
Yeah.
really? Okay. Why?
Mhm.
And this person goes, because I've learned from you, I'm
Mhm.
worth more.
Mm.
And I went, ooh, listen.
Yeah.
This person asked for $2 more per hour, got $4 more per hour, and a $15,000 sign-on bonus.
Oh, I love it.
And I
How
was
come we
like,
don't ask?
dang.
Like, so many
Yeah.
times, people are so funny because they're like, how do you always get what you want? And I'm like, because I ask. You just have to you ask for things. People are so scared to ask. That
Yes.
reminds me of, I don't know if you've read The Millionaire's Secret.
No.
Um, my trainer recommended The Instant Millionaire, which is the first one, but The Millionaire's Secret was the second one, I think
Mark Fisher.
is the name. But there's a part in it that really made me think, because, he had a goal, he'd written out his goal, and he was offered that and he declined it. And I was like, like, that would be really hard. Like, I'd put that out and that's what I wanted, but he declined it because he just felt it wasn't right. And then he got offered something even better. But it's always made me think, I thought, okay, how often do I settle and it's what I thought I wanted, but the universe had something so much better for me out there.
Yes,
So it's fascinating.
because sometimes we don't know, right? Like, we
Yeah.
haven't experienced that thing yet. So we launch that rocket into the universe and we say,
Right.
this is what I want. And then it presents itself and you're like, it's not quite the package I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Or you just see it and you're like, yeah, actually, I don't like how this feels.
Hmm.
I don't think I want this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting thing, because if you have the belief, like you were talking earlier about, be disciplined, stick to it,
Hmm.
continue to, stick in this thing, even though it's hard, you will disregard that emotional or physical response to something.
Yeah.
And it trains your body to store it.
Hmm.
But if instead you start listening, ooh, I feel a little tight around this decision. I feel a little,
Right.
I had that recently where I was going to lead a group for a program that I'm in next semester. And then the opportunity arose where they asked me to do it. And I'm going, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just let myself sit with it because I kind of waffle back and forth right now on that decision. And it's that same, like, what am I expecting from it? What is it actually going to be? And then back to failure, what you were talking about, when you tell people there's no way to fail, I actually do the opposite and say, yeah, you're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a problem that you fail. The problem is if you stay down. Otherwise, you don't learn.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is have it be your second try or your third try or your fifth try, because now you've begun to perfect it. You want to fail over and over and over and over, so that failure doesn't stop you from making a choice.
Well, and that's really what I say is the only failure is quitting. Like, as long as you're going, like, you're not failing, you're learning, you're experiencing however many lessons you need to experience until you get to the, where you want to go.
Yeah.
It may take 10 years. It may take 5 years. It may take a month, day, who knows?
Right. And when you were talking about the school too, I co-ran a small school in San Jose in California that was like a Montessori school. Yeah. And we would have epic fail days where we would just celebrate every time the kids failed at something. Yeah. And that we did too. And it was super fun because it was a way to play with something that can traditionally have shame around it, feel heavy, feel guilty.
I'd heard of a family, and I don't know if I was just on the radio or wherever, they would have dinner together and they would talk about the mistakes they made that day. And it just like normalized making mistakes and messing up. And then they would celebrate, their accomplishments and wins and all the things, but it was just normalizing it all so that it doesn't feel so heavy.
Yeah. And how has your shift in beingness over the last couple of years? You have one daughter, right? Or do you have two children?
I do. No, I have one.
One daughter. And how old is she?
17.
17. Oh, you were a young mama.
Yeah, I was 22.
Yeah, 17. That's almost grown. Oh. So how much has it affected your parenting and your relationship with her over the last 2 years?
I'm a totally different parent, for one. I feel like before this, I was very much fearful for her safety, not wanting to make the wrong choice. I was kind of a helicopter mom. And this has really shifted me entirely as a parent. And I feel like we don't have the typical teenage relationship with our mom. Like, my mom and I had a very different rocky relationship when I was a teenager. And so I was terrified when Aniston became a teenager, but she tells me things that I never would have told my mom. She tells me, she's so honest. She's asking me questions. She respects my answer. She asks for my advice. We have such a beautiful relationship. And I don't think I would have been in this place with her had I not done the emotional work. The other thing, and I'll tell you this story and try not to cry, because it was like the most impactful to me, was when I first started this journey. I remember having to do my first live and I was so nerve-wracked. Like, it just was it felt so big. I felt uncomfortable. I'm like sweating. And so I went and sat in our big tub, our like big jetted tub, so that I could do this live. And then I came out and I was like, oh, it was awful. I was blinking my eyes nonstop and but I did it. I'm so proud that I did it. And so they watched it. And the very next day, Aniston got in that tub and recorded herself singing and posted a video for the first time of her singing online. And I was like, it just hit me how they watch us. And because she's seen me go after my dreams and me do scary things, she's putting herself out there. She's going after what she wants. And she'll ask me all the time, she's like, Mom, do you think I can make it? And I said, yes, absolutely. If this is your dream, it is meant for you. Just don't give up. It might feel hard. It might feel scary. There might be times where you're like, this is not going to work. But if this is what you want, then we're going to do everything we can to make it happen. And so I just feel like this has shifted so much.
That's
So much.
amazing, Ember. That brought tears to my eyes.
I
That
know
got,
every
oh
time I
my
tell it, I'm
goodness.
like, oh,
That's
it's
so
just,
beautiful. Like I feel the heart in that,
mhm.
and I see you and
Oh,
I get
thank
that
you. Yeah.
so much because I know that journey of when you're embarking on something that's hard for you and then
Mhm,
you see someone you care about
mhm,
do the same thing or do
mhm.
something similar and you're like, holy shit, they just
Yeah.
got that because I did it first.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot with things with my partner. He takes a long time to make decisions on things,
Uh-huh.
very long time. And I tend to jump into something and then maybe go after, maybe I shouldn't have committed to this. So I don't do that as much now, but we've kind
Yeah.
of balanced each other out a lot. And I love to try new things. Personal growth is fairly easy for me. I've always,
Mhm.
that's where my interest has been.
Yeah.
What hasn't been as easy for me is like hard physical work.
Mhm.
Like going out into a garden or building
Oh, yeah.
something, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I will, in the past, I would just disappear for, a really long lunch, or all of a sudden it's dinner time at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we had this project recently where we laid a bunch of mulch down for my grandmother, and she has a large property. So we laid down 150 bags of mulch.
Oh.
And yeah, it was a lot. We wanted to call a company and have all this mulch dropped off in her driveway. And
Yeah.
she was like, no, I don't want to mess in my driveway. I want the bags.
Yeah.
Okay, grandma. So we went to Lowe's and his truck could fit 30 bags. We did like 5 trips and we were helping load it. We were then unloading it. We were emptying the bags. We were raking it out.
Mhm.
And I was so proud of myself, like witnessing myself and kind of laughing at how I at one point I was loading these bags in, helping the guys at Lowe's.
Mhm.
And the guy looks at me and he looks at my partner and he goes, you're going to marry her, right? And I was like, oh, we're engaged. Don't worry. He knows what he's got.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this is hilarious. Any other time before this project,
Yeah.
which we haven't done a project in probably 2 years, but a physical project like that. But 2 years ago, I would have sat in the truck and just
Mhm.
gone, just let them, that's their job. Let me know
Yeah.
when they're done. And he
Yeah.
would have been back there to make it go faster because that's just how he works.
Mhm.
But this time I was up in there, I was working as hard as he was, but I didn't, he has a tendency to push himself
Mhm.
beyond his limits and then get and hurt himself.
Yeah.
And I won't do that. So
Yeah.
even though I was pushing beyond my comfort zone, which is
Mhm.
new for me in the
Yeah.
physical realm, I love to be comfortable.
Uh-huh.
And so that's my new growth edge. And by the end of the project, it took us 2 or 3 days, something like that, to do all these. And I said, we haven't argued once during this project.
Mhm.
And he was like, huh, you're right. And I realized because now he saw I was giving it everything I could, but I was
Yeah.
also respecting my own boundaries.
Mhm.
And because of that, he didn't get upset when I reminded him, you need to take a break. You're
Yeah.
going to burn yourself out, have some water, take 10 minutes, sit
Mhm.
down. It's that same kind of thing of like taste testing your life and realizing the progress you've made and
Mhm.
realizing that you're affecting someone else. So here he was
Yeah.
allowing me to share my parts,
Mhm.
but I kind of had to show him I was capable at operating at his speed also.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's demonstrating, just like you basically said. It's like I don't have to tell her certain things. She sees me living it. And
You
so it's
model
just
it.
being that example and modeling it and showing people what's possible. It's just, it's really beautiful. I love personal growth and
Have
all the
you
things.
have you had an experience in Hey You Human or with the rapid relief technique with a client? Have you had an experience with one of them that was really a moment like that, like seeing your daughter in the bathtub singing?
I've watched them. So we have our own community, we have our own app. And so people will post and they post these stories. And so it's just when I see those, I'm like, gosh, we actually have a certification program. So I think this is where I see I see it more because we're on video chats each week doing practice sessions and stuff. So I see it more closely in there because I watch these beautiful people and the practitioners they're becoming as they grow and evolve and do this work. And I just like Jill Lang is the other person who works with me in the certification program. And so we just, she'll joke with they're like our children because we watch them and we're like, oh my gosh. And we watch them be so vulnerable and have these sessions and just, it is so beautiful. But I do see it a lot in our community with people who are learning it. And I just see them post and I'm just like, yes, I get so excited. I get so excited. And we'll have family members join. And then I get even more excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing it together. Like it's
That's
truly
awesome.
healing generational patterns of all kinds of stuff. So
That's
yeah.
incredible to witness people bring their families in.
Oh yeah. My mom came and I was like, this is magic. And then she's like texting me things. And I'm like, Mom, I've been in the world 2 years. I know this. But it's all new to her. So she's so excited and she's sharing. And I'm like, yeah, I know I've been telling you this for like 2 years.
Well, and I think too, when you really take responsibility for your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial wellness and that internal health in all those categories, your relationships just naturally get better.
Oh, they do.
I mean, the ones that you're meant to be aligned with because you're expanding and growing, they'll get closer, and the ones that aren't will kind of flutter away.
They will.
And they just won't make as much sense. And I try to prepare people a little bit for that. Like, okay, there will be some breakdowns as you have breakthroughs because they're the predecessor.
Yeah.
And people will walk away. You won't even need to walk away from people because you start to shine in a certain way that the people that doesn't resonate with, they won't have things to talk to you about anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the more challenging things with me probably over the last 10 years is realizing the more growth I had, the more you discover the people that are on the trail with you and the ones that aren't, or that we're just on the trail with you for a certain period of time. I had a friend recently that we overlap each other's worlds a lot. And we actually met on Instagram, but since then we've met in person. We've done a lot of things together and done a lot of things online together and work-wise together. And she was upset because she goes, we're not talking as much and I'm not relating to these things that you're going through and you're not relating to these things I'm going through. And I went, look, we're super close, this friend and I. And I was like, I love you and I'm not going anywhere. And we're just on different paths right now. We're going up the same mountain, but you've got your trail and your path that you're discovering and learning. And I've got mine. And the cool thing is when we have conversations here, we've got very different things to tell each other.
Yeah.
What you're feeling is that we're not walking side by side on the path like we had been, but that doesn't mean we're not friends.
Yeah.
And there's that too. And that all begins to shift when you're in full responsibility.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things people are most scared of, that, as you change and shift, like, what if they don't love me anymore? What if they leave me, and losing those relationships? And I definitely have had to grieve several relationships, but like you said, I feel like some people are meant to be here in our life for a time, and they may come back through, like they may be on their own journey and we might merge again in the beginning, sometime in the future, or we might not. And that's okay. But I have found the most amazing humans on the internet. It is so funny. Like my best friend, I haven't even met her in person, but she knows everything about me. We talk every single day. We tell each other everything. It is the funniest thing. She actually had worked for the company for a little bit. And so I feel like I know her, but we have people come, we have people go, our relationships shift. And it's just all part of evolving. Like we have to evolve together. And some people are on a different timeline and they're not ready. And some people, will never be ready. And that's okay. You can just love them where they're at and you'll find your people.
And you also don't have to love them.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to. But I find that what I have found is when you do the emotional work, coming back to love is easy. Like
Yeah, I think that there's so many common misconceptions about love. I just want to
Mhm.
briefly touch on that because
Yeah.
so many people think that love means romantic love.
Oh, right. No. Yeah.
And it means I'll do anything for you kind of thing. Because I've said I love you to people that I don't know anything about their life. But in
Yeah.
that moment, in that conversation, I love you.
Mhm.
And I'm going to say it.
Mhm.
But people have this weird stuff around love,
Yeah.
around accepting it, around sharing it, around what that means. And I've had other people where I've said that to, and now they think that they have an all access pass to my
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
And okay, I said it to you in that moment and I meant it in
Mhm.
that moment. That does not mean that
Right.
I'm going to answer all your messages, that you get to call me whenever you want, that boundaries,
Mhm.
which is a whole other topic. But I
Yeah.
think when I say you don't have to love them, a distinction I have found is I can be compassionate for anyone.
Mhm.
I can always reach into that.
Mhm.
But there are some people I don't love. I
Mhm.
can have compassion for you as a human being, but I
Mhm.
do not love you.
Mhm.
And I don't have to.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I have compassion. I see you as a human and I may not want you in my life. It like we may not resonate at all. You may be on your path that I don't understand, but I can still hold space mentally. That doesn't mean you're in my physical space or in my life, but I have no ill will. I've removed all of the
Yes.
negative emotions around it. Like I think of people who have hurt me in the past and I feel nothing. And maybe love's a strong word, but that's the word that we use because it feels like that's the baseline frequency we're all trying to get to. And it's not a strong, like, I just love you. I feel like there's different levels, but
Yes.
I love you as a human, but we're not going to be in each other's lives. But I have
Yeah.
no will.
And I'm totally splitting hairs over semantics, but
Yeah.
being in ontology, I love distinguishing the language
Hmm.
and what the language means and what it represents and what we're meaning when we say it and how it's potentially received on
Hmm.
the other end. Because those can be very different languages, even though you're both
Yeah.
speaking the same dialect.
Well, and we see things through our emotions and our experiences. So
Yes.
if like two people can see something totally differently and you're like, how can you not see this? It was so clear. And they're like, because we're all seeing it from different lenses. So yeah, it's the same with words. You hear it and you're internalizing it in your own way.
Yes. I could go over these things forever with you, Ember. This has been such a beautiful time with you. And
Thank you.
my last two questions are
Yeah.
one, what is your next big leap?
Well, I feel like the Mexico trip and then my book. I've been writing a book. I want to finish it. My world got a bit chaotic here for a moment. I've just moved. Um, but truly, I guess the answer that's actually coming to me is I want to do this big, I keep calling it my Eat, Pray, Love trip. I want to travel. And I'm in a place right now where Aniston will graduate next year. I've actually separated from my husband. We've moved, and it feels like the time where I can go on this self-discovery journey and just really like anchor even more into who I want to be and write my book and all this stuff. And so luckily I can take Hey You Human anywhere I go. I can work from anywhere. And so I have this vision of really traveling. I think Australia is on my list. I would love to go to Europe. There are different places. And so part of that terrifies me. And part of that is like, I've been called to do this for years and I've been waiting and now it's the time. So
So we're just going to do a
Perfect.
quick manifesting for anyone that's listening. I want you to say this with me. I know we won't hear you, but the energy of the universe was, and I want you to come into rhythm with me. Ember travel, 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 ember travel.
I
And
love it.
so it is.
I love it. I love it. Well, my book title that I started 2 years ago is Soul on Fire, and I think it just magically goes with everything we've talked about, because it's just about living a life where you're lit up and really feel like on fire for life and have passion and excitement for all the things. And so that's what travel does for me too. So
I like something with ember in the title, like stoke the embers.
yeah. Yeah.
Just saying,
Love
I'm
that
just going to
too.
throw that out there. With that, any final advice for our listeners, Ember? Anything that you'd like to share with whoever stumbles across this, or whoever you share it with, or I share it with later?
I feel like just really tune into you, your desires, your path, your purpose, your passion. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And when you tune back into you, you will find what you love. Just explore. Don't be afraid or do it afraid, and really try new things and figure out what you like so that you can live your best life. So if they wanted to find us, we have an app. It's app.heyyou.human.com. They can check it out. It's free. We teach the rapid relief technique. It's a 20-minute video. They can take it, use it in their daily life. There's a ton of, I did some meditations in there. There's a ton of different things. So, or just heyyouhuman.com is our website.
Perfect. And all of Ember's details will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank
Ember.
you so much. This was so fun.
It was. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Christina Crooks Show. If you'd like to learn more about our guest, you can explore the show notes, and there should be information about them in there. If you'd like to reach out to me personally, you can go to my website, ChristinaCrooks.com, and learn about different offerings we currently have, or set up a call with me personally. I hope that you take away some insights and some new inspirations, some new zest for life. And I hope, above all, you have a really great day.